So we're going to start our show here in just a second. Everything was pretty much put together already, and um, this weekend I was out of town, so I went ahead and put everything together and got back from an announcing event and got some news Saturday night that Brian wasn't looking too good. Brian Christopher. Brian was a close friend, I would say. We used to text back and forth a lot. Brian used to help me do things as far as whether it be in the ring, whether it be in the gym, giving me advice, yelling at me whenever I would screw up. Because as you might have heard in an interview he did with us earlier, if he cared about you, he was going to yell at you. And, if he didn't care about you, he'd yell at you and he'd never talk to you again or something like that. But for the most part, if he yelled at you, he cared about you. And then the same breath of him yelling at you, he would turn around and, give you the shirt off his back. Brian was just that type of guy. And this has been something that, like I said, I've known about since Saturday. We're sitting here Monday night, and I'm eventually going to work on something as far as a tribute show, get some guys on here to talk about some stories with him. Won't be anything about us. It'll just be guys that want to talk. If they don't want to talk, then that's fine. But we're not going to do that for a little while. We're going to let this kind of have some time to breathe, I guess. For those of you that don't know, might not have heard, Brian Christopher passed away yesterday afternoon. And I listened back to our interview, like I said, with Brian, and man, it's hard to believe that it's just hard to believe that somebody that was that just energetic and just so full of life and so just life of the party and just who he was. If you knew him, I joke that on the couple of road trips I took with him, it was just almost too much for me. The first one I took was 2 months in the business, and I was young and sheltered, and I quit the business immediately because that was who Brian was. Brian was he was Brian. And if you weren't ready for him, he was gonna make you think, oh my gosh, what have I gotten myself into? But like I said, Brian was also that guy that would call you up and say, hey, you need to get this done, or hey, I got you a booking here, or stay up and play video games with a kid in Selmer, Tennessee that was disabled that just loved the guy. And all those things are real, There's a story of when I first met him, and when I was a fan, 11 years old, and one of the only wrestlers that come out and signed autographs. It's just who Brian was, and even though I had this show already done, and it's just seems insignificant now, I wanted to come on here and just say, praying for his family, for the most part. Wanted to acknowledge it. Praying for his friends. He's got a lot of friends out there, but there's quite a few out there that were really close with him, like a brother, and that's who I'm really praying hard for him, those guys and his family, because like I said, just to think that Brian's not here anymore is really sad. And like I said, we're going to try to do something eventually. 1 week, it might be one of those projects we just try to slowly put things together, but we'll do something, to kind of like a tribute to Brian after this kind of has some time. But like I said, Brian passed away yesterday afternoon, and thoughts and prayers are with his family, and hopefully we will come on next week and it won't be another announcement like this, because geez, it's just terrible. And it's terrible to have to make these announcements, but we didn't want to just not address it. And Josh isn't here, but we didn't want to just not address it. We wanted to say something about it. That's the reason why nothing will be said in the show, because the show is pretty much done. The show's been done for 2 weeks, because I knew that I would be out of town. But man, gosh. But yeah, just keep his family and friends in your thoughts and prayers. Like I said, Brian, you're going to be missed, man.
Welcome to P3 Radio.
The monkey only dances as good as the guy grinding the organ handle.
Demolition! We're coming for you, baby!
That was my moment of I carried a watermelon.
And if you're going to call me back tomorrow, whatever,
You better believe I took my turn a little bit. What?
Cool story, bro.
PG3 Radio.
Here's your host, Josh Bradley,
Ladies and gentlemen, next up we have Crying Little Blind Children.
Richard Mullican.
I don't know. Is this making any sense to anybody out there?
It's showtime! It's showtime! It's showtime!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of P3 Radio. I'm Richard Mullican, joined by my co-host and best friend, Josh Briley. Say hey, Josh.
Hey everybody, how's it going? How you doing today, Richard?
Doing pretty good. We got a great show for him, right, Josh?
And I'm so excited about this show today, I can hardly contain myself.
The only thing I'm upset about is I stumbled on that last line, but that's okay. We're going to hear from a great sponsor. Who are we going to hear from, Josh?
I hear from Score Big.
Score Big is the leading online marketplace for tickets to sports, concerts, theater, and family events.
Score Big allows you to purchase last-minute tickets to sold-out events. Also, the latest on sales of popular artists, teams, and productions. They'll get you in.
They safeguard your transaction with a 100% money-back guarantee under a secure checkout with interactive seat maps to guide your purchase.
And whether it's an Atlanta Braves game, Metallica concert, or a WWE event, they've got you covered.
Book your seats now at tinyurl.com/P3events.
That's tinyurl.com/P3events.
When you go shopping for wine, do you look at the labels? Do you stare at the price and wonder if the wine is worth the expensive tag? Well, stop it, because Wine of the Month Club has you covered. Every month, Wine of the Month Club is going to send you 2 bottles of high-quality wine right to your front door.
And what better way to say I'm thinking of you than a subscription to the original Wine of the Month Club for a friend or a sweetheart. Each month they'll be reminded of your thoughtfulness and will receive the monthly wine letter and newsletter binder. Recipes, wine knowledge, and great wine, and the opportunity to get more of their favorites is at hand. Give with confidence and joy, knowing that you're a part of the original Wine of the Month Club.
By the way, there are no dues, no fees, no hidden charges. Cancel anytime with no obligation. Just pay no more than $23.96 plus shipping for 2 great bottles of wine. Go there now. Sign up by visiting our link, tinyurl.com/P3wine. That's tinyurl.com/P3wine. The Wine of the Month Club, the original wine club since 1972.
We can vape if we want to. We can leave cigarettes behind. 'Cause our friends all vape, and if they don't vape, then they're no friends of mine.
Yeah.
Vista.
Vista Vapors. For all your vaping needs, go to Vista Vapors at P3 Radio. What?
Not
No.
P3 Radio.
Oh,
What the hell?
it's tinyurl.com/P3Vista. tinyurl.com/P3Vista. Vista Vapors for all your vaping needs.
We can leave cigarettes behind.
Welcome back to P3 Radio. This is Rich Mulligan, joined by Josh Briley again.
You joined by me?
Joined by Josh Briley, my best friend, still here.
I am still here. Am I your guest?
Yes. We thought about doing a whole show like this where we just talk really, really fast and try to get everything out of the way.
Maybe a 10-minute show.
Yeah, it would be really fun.
We'll call it the Micro Machines.
Micro Machine Show?
Micro Machines. It's not Micro Machines. That's the real thing.
Yep. This is popcorn.
I love popcorn. From hot butter.
Wouldn't it be annoying if we did the whole show like this? You know what this song reminds me of?
Atari.
Yeah, or the old video games. You know, like...
Which would be Atari.
Well, not just
or
Atari.
a ColecoVision. You didn't have no fucking ColecoVision.
I didn't have a... No, I'm saying not just Atari. Just, like, old video game music in general. You know, like, one of my favorites was Punch-Out as a kid. How could you not like that?
kind of
you know,
motivated you to go out and
Yeah.
really train or something.
right, run to the Statue of Liberty a few
Right.
times, and you're gonna beat up Mike Tyson in the game. Or just put in the cheat code.
We'll just do the cheat code.
Life don't have no cheat code, son. You gonna have to fight Mike Tyson. What? No. You know, one of my friend's wives told me she's from a different country. We were talking recently, and she said that everything in her country was like different, named differently, and everything. And one of the funny things was we were watching Tetris, and she looking at Tetris, and Tetris, like, I think comes from a word. I can't remember the details. I probably shouldn't have started the story, but
Yeah.
but the music was like a Russian song, like the.
That's the. It's like the Russian Yankee Doodle Dandy or something, pretty much.
It'd be like if we were playing a game of like Angry Birds, and it was like "Horn my Yankee Doodle Dandy." Oh, it's like
Yankee
what?
Doodle Boy.
Yankee Doodle went to town and ride out his pony. And you're like, I just want to play Angry Birds. Shut the fuck up. And then after it's all said and done, Yankee Doodle went to town riding on a pony, stuck a feather in his head, and called it macaroni.
Stuck a finger in his ass.
What? But after it's done, it's just like, all right, well, that song's done. Let's play the next level Angry Birds. And
So-
it's like, Yankee Doodle went to town and riding on a pony.
So what you're saying is they don't say stuck a finger in his ass?
No.
What's the line?
Stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni.
How does that even make sense?
How does stuck a finger in his ass and called it macaroni make sense?
I assure
Okay.
you, that would make a lot more sense than stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni.
Maybe at the tire care, truck stop, daycare that you went to. But
or the ER, depending on how close you are with me, I guess.
oh yeah, yeah. You want to tell that story?
So I've had a doctor's hand up my ass before. I was like 4 or 5 years old, extremely constipated. Long story short, they took x-rays, seen the blockage or whatever, and it was either surgery or get that grown man's hand stuck up my ass and dig the obstruction of the constipation out. I remember it was very traumatic when I was a very young boy, and my mother...
Josh told me that story for the first time tonight, and I swear to God, all that I was thinking. You remember that scene in Total Recall where he takes that machine and puts it to his nose?
That was exactly how my little 4-year-old ass was. It was
Ah!
You
Hello,
know,
Josh. You are going to have to
get your ass to Mars. Get your ass to Mars.
And he sticks that thing, and it just goes up in his butt and grabs the full walnut that Josh has swallowed at one point.
The 5-day-old obstruction.
What did they say? What caused that? Was you just holding your shit in, or?
Well, yeah, because
you made it sound like you were like the doctor was like, "Come on now, you just gonna have to shit."
no. It was beyond that. I went to the ER because my stomach was hurting so bad, and I remember just like it was yesterday, like one of my favorite things to get whenever we went to some kind of drugstore or some little gas
Was
station.
opiates.
No, it was a gas station or something. But the thing that I used to love to get was these Oreo cookies and cream sandwich bar type things. And I remember eating that. We was watching the fucking Carol Burnett show. I remember that. And
You definitely will remember the day that a grown man shoves his finger in your rectum.
no matter
You'll know.
how old you were at the time, you'll always remember.
Silver spoon in hand. It ain't me.
Yeah.
It ain't me. I am a constipated wall.
Oh Lord! Either way,
So Carol Burnett show.
I ate that
and
fucking
you
ice
said,
cream
"Mommy,
thing.
my tum tum. I haven't went boom boom in a week."
Pretty much, but I wasn't as clear because my mom, she was in a panic. I mean, I was crying. My stomach was hurting so bad.
So you ran to the bathroom, or you were eating that sandwich?
I'm eating the Oreo cookies and cream sandwich
Yeah.
thing, and after I'm done, I'm sitting there watching Carol Burnett, and I remember this just horrible pain. It was like somebody was stabbing me in my stomach or something. I start crying. My mom's freaking out or whatever. She takes me to the ER.
They rushed
So-
me into the damn.
Had you been trying to go to the bathroom, or
Look, you know how it is when you're a kid and you don't want to miss anything or whatever. I don't know why I was holding my shit in. Don't
I just
get me
asked
on
you if
that.
you were holding it in. You were like, "Oh no, I was
Well,
I was eating this ice cream sandwich thing."
I was trying to get the whole story laid out. You're wanting to jump from.
I want to.
You're
delve
wanting to
in.
jump from French kissing straight to the in and out. That's not how
No,
things work.
I want to delve
in the
into the
real world.
story a little less deeper than the doctor did into your asshole.
I'm just trying to get you the full interview.
So
Not.
So
you know.
you're sitting around. Well, I mean, you jumped all the way to the Carol Burnett show when the pain started. I'm assuming that the pain didn't just start, like as you're. I mean, you knew you hadn't went to take a crap in like how long? Maybe 3 days, 4 days at that point.
Something like that.
What now? Okay, so the first time you're holding it in, right? The second time, you're sorry, distractions. The second time, do you remember when you just, hey, I don't have to hold it in anymore, anything like that?
That's what's so scary. No, I didn't know I was doing anything out of the ordinary until something started hurting. So, being 4 years old, you're really not keen on like gravity or the concept of like, if something goes in, it has to come out somewhere else. You know what I mean? The whole pressure
Save
thing.
the sexy talk for your wife.
Pressure, all that.
Yeah,
You don't get that. You just,
right. You just get.
can't. I can't stop watching this TV show, or I can't go inside and take a dump right now. I have more important things.
So this led to a week-long. At no point you were like, "Hey, I haven't wiped my ass in a few weeks."
Nothing.
My hole has not felt the.
I guess I thought I was just lucky. Hey, I don't have to shit anymore. No more messing up my He-Man underwear.
Yeah, it's like Josh's underwear is really clean. I think he's gotten better. I don't think we're gonna have to send him off to that camp like we thought we were gonna have to.
The shit chip camp.
But so okay, so Carol Burnett, you're watching it. You're eating the
Carol Burnett is like my Creedence Clearwater. Whenever I see Carol Burnett, my stomach starts aching, and I just feel my asshole kind of protruding and gaping out.
I tell you what, every time I watched Mama's Family, I took a shit on the spot. It was like Pavlovian a little bit.
And I cried a great deal after everyone.
All right, so let's fast forward a little bit. You yell, "Hey, I can't go crap," and
no, it wasn't
okay,
like
so
that.
so your stomach was
My tummy
hurting,
hurt.
and you didn't go, "Hey, let's go. Let me go poop." Let me
I
go try
tried
to
and I
poop.
couldn't.
So you ran to the bathroom, tried to poop. Did you just like trying to force it out? And
I guess.
so your mom comes into the bathroom where you're
No,
at?
my mom, she's like, "What's wrong with you?" "Oh, my stomach's hurting."
I'm
It's
gonna
really
level with you,
bad."
Mom. I ain't shit in a week.
No, we don't talk about that.
Okay, so
So she just takes me to the ER, and then all that other stuff happens.
all right, no, let's not graze over it. So they take an X-ray of you, and they're like, "Oh, you're compacted pretty good," and no one thinks, "Oh, laxative or stool softener, this ought to help." They just go right for it.
I guess.
The old bowling ball grip, eh?
Yep. Old Frank. It's kind of like, how one of them big New York dogs looks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's kind of how the doctor's fingers were, probably. Big ass
So
fucking beef Frank
so
fingers.
he jams his finger in. I know you probably went to a different place in your mind. You kind of went back to a time where this wasn't happening, probably, and blacked out a little bit. But was it like one of those videos you watch where they're popping like a big cyst on a cow and they poke it and it just starts pouring
Oh, it's
out?
kind of like in my mind. It's kind of like, all right, now, son, this might hurt a little bit. All right, here we go. And then all of a sudden, I just hear the Commodores. I know it sounds funny, but I just can't stand the pain.
I woke up and I was eating ice cream. It
Yeah.
was It's great.
It's the damnedest shit ever.
But I mean, how did that happen? Did you just start? I'm shitting. I'm shitting. Just going all over the wall.
I don't remember.
Nurses are like, oh God.
I don't remember what happened after, the hand and all that. The claw. I don't remember what happened when he had the iron claw in my ass.
So he basically shoves his hand in, digs out the shit. And
that's a wrap.
that's it. So stomach didn't hurt. If my stomach hurt after that, I wasn't damn near telling anybody. What's wrong, Josh? Your stomach hurt? Fuck no.
So I had a tumor that was 5 years old that was undiscovered for a long time.
You look a little peaked, Josh. Your stomach hurt? No, fuck, it's okay.
No, I'm fine.
You leave me be, woman. God. I just imagine it was probably like one of those videos with the cyst where he shoved his finger in, pulls out the plum, and it just like opens up Pandora's box. Where it's just like.
No, look, I do remember the X-rays, and that blockage was like kielbasa size. It wasn't a plum by any means. This 5 days worth of little turds and
Just
Flintstone
pack it up.
vitamins and all kind of crap.
At the rate of embarrassing my daughter, have we talked about this before? When you walk in and the kid hasn't flushed the toilet.
Yeah,
Have we talked about that?
I think.
Sometimes it's amazing, man. You just walk in there and you're like, "Holy Lord!"
Well,
How
my
did
thing
this-
is, my smallest child, the little one, the 11-year-old,
Right?
she's like got the biggest turds.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how, because like some of them are legit as long from the bottom of her foot probably to her, I don't know, kneecap.
Right. Do you know it's like when you were a kid, like when you would take one of those dumps where it was like a really long turd, you were like, like, when is this going in? Or when you would have one that was too big and it would be like, it would hurt. Like, oh God, I think I'm just going to
remember-
hold this for a while and go watch Carol Burnett.
Yeah. No, seriously, I remember one time, I was probably, like I said, 4 or 5 years old, right around the time of that travesty, that when you take a shit at that point, you're just
Yeah.
learning to shit by yourself and all that.
Learning to shit
anything that happens where there,
all by myself.
what I'm saying is, I had a shit that was so long one time, it was poking up, out of the water and all that, and being like 4 years old.
It's old Nessie there.
Being
It's
4
a
years
horrible
old,
Scottish accent or Irish.
I just get up and I look at it. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta show somebody. I went and got my grandpa, and he was like, damn, Pancho, I'm gonna have to take a ball back to that thing, get it flushed down.
You're really putting some strain on my plumbing there, Pancho. Yeah, it's like you just created a shit nest monster.
Right.
Well,
Maybe that's why I had so bad obstructions. My turds were like as long as my bowels.
why didn't you shit? Well, Carol Burnett show was on, and I had a tasty sandwich, so I didn't feel like I needed to. But Skippy, I'm going 3 times a day from now on.
He runs and hides under his bed every time Mama's family comes on. I don't know what the hell's wrong with him.
Trigger warning there. It's like every time you hear Mama's Family come on, you get scared. You start crying and holding your ass. No! What are you doing, Josh? I'm gonna go take a shit.
I'm going to shit. You
All
just
right.
came out of the bathroom.
We need to take you to the doctor? Hell no!
No!
You get
I'll
like
call the police. Tell them you beat me.
that's
Don't you ever do that.
that's when you get to the point where you went in like a 5-year-old kid, but you come out talking like a man. I've seen things, motherfucker. Smoking cigarettes. Where'd you get that cigarette? You don't worry about it, you son of a bitch. Life
I
shit.
went in with the voice of Macaulay Culkin. I came out talking like Stallone
Yeah, life shit.
from fucking Cobra.
Well, we didn't mean to talk about crap stories for 15 minutes, but
And look, if you've had a doctor's hand shoved up your ass too, I'm right there with you.
yeah.
That's all I got on that.
Good Forrest Gump ending there. Moving right along, we were talking about things that. Excuse me. We're talking about things.
We
that,
got this this middle screen of our setup here.
Yeah.
We've got a few computer monitors and whatnot. We
Oh,
got just
yeah, I mean,
MSN.
Maybe we should say this. If you're noticing any audio quality difference in the last 2 or 3 weeks, we changed setups again, and we no longer have an echo in our ear. Like even when we changed it the last time, we still had a slight echo. Now we don't hear anything. We just hear ourselves talking as we're talking. And you would think not having that echo has made it better, but it has screwed us up tremendously. Like it's messed up our timing. It's messed up how we say things. It's really messing us up. But we now have 2 computers here in the center. There is just videos, just not videos, but little news things going off every 2 seconds, and we're just looking at it and getting distracted. So, but no, we were talking earlier about like I was telling you how my wife will have these little meaningless jobs that she wants me to do, and I'm on to her game. I told her the other day, I'm on to you, and she's like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, I see what you're doing here," and she's like, "What?" I was like, "Well, you just asked me to put your clothes in the dryer when they're done." Yeah, I was like, "The clothes have been done for a while. I know what you're doing." She's like, "What am I doing?" I'm like, "There are clothes in the dryer right now, and you will have to find a home for them if you put the clothes from the washer into the dryer. But if I do it, you won't have to worry about it." So I'm unloading the dryer and then loading it. I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't doing that. But it happens every time. And the only time she throws her clothes in the dryer is when there's no clothes in the dryer already.
You know,
Yeah.
sorry.
All choked
You know
up.
what I just started doing at that point?
What?
This is a few years old at this time, but when my wife started giving me those tasks, I would just take the clothes from the washing machine, take the clothes out of the dryer that were still in there, throw them up on top of the dryer. I'm talking about take them, put them in a ball, throw that shit on top
Yeah.
of the dryer, put the clothes back in the dryer from the washer.
Talking to the mic.
Game is done.
Well, how long would you do that until just as many times as necessary?
Well, if you ball up the clothes and throw them on top of the dryer maybe 2-3 times, that's kind of the indicator that you don't know what you're doing or you're just going to fuck up every time. So I don't really get asked to do that very much anymore because I'm expected to fail.
He ain't gonna do it right anyways.
I'll just do it.
Huh.
So maybe you should fail a few times.
Maybe. That's the worst teacher speech ever. You sons of bitches ain't learned shit. You guys are just gonna have to learn. Just fail sometimes.
Life and wives are 2 totally different things. There's a certain way you approach things in life, and then there's a certain way you approach things inside the house.
When you. Okay, I thought you were going to say inside the wife. Sometimes you got to kill her, wear her skin, and act like her. You don't ever do that?
17?
You don't ever do that? Oh, Jesus. Well, I think we have run out of topic here. Should we go to another commercial or just say we'll be right back?
We might be back. Might not be back. You never know. Yo, man! Come to Florida! We got all of the sights you've been wanting to be seeing, man! Come to SeaWorld! Free your willy, man! Come to Legoland! Everything is awesome! You can come to Universal Studios! Get your Marty McFly on, man! You hear the trash can drums, man!
Josh.
I love it!
Josh, what are you doing, man?
Huh?
What are you doing? This isn't Jamaica. This is Florida.
What? I heard the trash can drums and I just got excited.
Well,
I'm
they're
sorry.
called steel drums, and everything else you pretty much said was okay, but we want to say also that if you book with Florida Ticket Station, your tickets are guaranteed by the state of Florida to be valid. So your vacation will be on point and where it needs to be the right way. So go right now to Florida Ticket Station by visiting them at tinyurl.com/P3Florida and book your Florida trip today.
That's tinyurl.com/P3FloridaMon.
Once again, it's Florida, not Jamaica.
I'm sorry.
Welcome back to more P3 Radio. Had this song in my head all day.
Once again, I know.
There's something really satisfying about just walked around the house today. There was nobody here. I just walked around the house. I just walked around the house doing that. I was like,
once again, oh my God, oh come on, here I am, once again.
you're doing the worst.
What, do you want me to try to be on point like dude? I mean,
That's the point of an impression, but
oh God.
yeah, that was.
You're
there's
really
something-
not hitting Prince's notes, when you're doing that impression. That's actually a shit impression. Yeah, that ain't worth a damn. That's too that's too punctuated. That's actually that ain't worth a damn.
But this guy does an Australian, Jamaican. You're turned on me, mate.
You lied to me. You bloke.
What I do.
All these pains.
No.
You fucking yanks.
All right.
You bloody yanks. You lie to me.
I think that's more British. I don't think either one of us was doing an Australian accent.
I've never been to Australia.
Yeah. Well, no, it was like you were doing. This was supposed to be a Jamaican accent, and you're like, but I try, but I try.
What you do? What you lied to me. You lied to me, man.
There's.
Oh my God, man.
Can we get a steel drum in here, man?
Cause she said.
Have you ever been to Jamaica?
No.
Yeah, I've been once.
Really?
Yeah, we went on a cruise, and I went to Jamaica, and honestly, it was. There's gonna be some people that listen to this that's been to Jamaica, and they're gonna be like, "I loved it." What are you talking? Like, honestly, I don't know if it was just where we docked the boat at, but I got off the boat and I was like, it's hot. Everything looks like weeds involved, and everything looks dirty. Like, there have been, and like I said, once again, this could have just been the dock that we were in, but everything looked so dirty, and just it looked like a gas station that the power had just came back on after like a month, and they were just like, "We're open, man. Come on in, man."
Come on in. Try the fish.
Yeah, no. So
Nah,
I got off the
it's
boat.
probably not properly cooked.
Yeah, I got off the boat just to take a picture and say, "Hey, I've been to Jamaica," and got right back on the boat. I'm like, nope, I'm just gonna stay on the boat. But no, I mean, it was just like I said, it was just dirty. And my wife was the same way. She actually ventured out about 3 hours away because you go on these long, full-day excursions. So she's like, we got into a cab. They took us to like an hour away. We went to another cab. They took us here. And I'm like, jeez. And she's like, then we looked at this thing and came back. She's like, but everything was dirty.
So you just essentially chilled in Jamaica by yourself?
No, I had my daughter with me, and we did some family, like, kid things.
Who was your wife with?
My sister-in-law, her sister.
Oh,
and
okay,
her-
okay.
And,
They went
and
and did
her
girl
brother-in-law.
stuff.
Yeah. Well, no, her brother-in-law went too. They went like hiking or something.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, nah, I'm good.
Screw that.
Yeah, I'll stay on the boat.
I went on
and-
vacation to relax, not get my heart rate up.
Yeah. And I mean, I was like, I'll stay on the boat. We'll do some Dr. Seuss stuff, me and my daughter. So
That would have been my play too, man.
but no, man, I mean, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about this week is like, we talked about the kid thing right then, but like, have you ever had a kid say something, even yours, somebody else's, that just makes you laugh and you're not supposed to laugh?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Definitely guilty.
yeah. So it's like they're looking at you and they're like, I don't really care. Or they accidentally say something like, hey, Mom, what does shit mean? And you're like, oh, no. Oh, no. You
Yeah.
know.
I've got a few. Or a couple, maybe one. good
You want to
one.
go first?
You
or?
go first.
Well, I used to work at a school, and I was in charge of putting all the office referrals in on the computer. So basically what we would have office referrals that would came in like during the week. So like if it was Monday, I'd be putting in Friday's office referrals. I was always a day back, but we'd have to put them in the system for like the state, so the state could keep up with behavioral patterns or whatnot. So I would see these, and it would always be one of the three things: disrupting class, not paying attention or listening to the teacher when given an instruction, and on the wild case there might be a fight. Most of them were dress code violations. It was like so and so forgot a belt, so and so forgot a belt, so and so forgot a belt. So that was what most of them were. But every once in a while you would get one that you would just chuckle. And there was this one I got, and it had like a paragraph written on it. Now these little pieces of paper, they're like a third the size of a notebook sheet of paper. So that's what you're looking at, a third of the size. So you're not going to have a lot of room for writing anything on those. So under the comments section of what the kid did wrong, it said, I asked the student to hand me his homework. And the student basically said, no, I don't, whatever, and just kind of laid his head down. He said, and I told the student he needed to pick his head up and hand me his homework. And he said, what if I told you that I didn't do it? And the teacher said, well, then you would get a 0. He goes, at which time the student replied, I don't give 2.5 fucks. So I'm laughing. I'm like, that is hilarious. And it's like the fraction of a fuck that made that's so funny. I don't give 2.5 fucks. What about 3? Now you're pushing it. Right. I might give 3 fucks. But I mean, I remember I was sitting in class, like I had a class in the room with me, and I would just monitor the computers, and they were just like quiet, and all of a sudden you just hear me just like that. And the funny thing is, we worked right, like my lab was right next to ISS. So I see the kid in there, and he's just in there like he's doing his homework now because, I mean, he just probably didn't want to do it last night, and they put him in there to do it. But it was just so funny to see his face and see the reaction. And I'm like, this kid is kind of a piece of crap. Like, I know him. He's been in here a lot. But that's pretty funny.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So what's something that you have heard?
Well, it was from my mother-in-law. She, at one point...
How old is your mother-in-law again?
Well, my mother-in-law, she is probably...
Well, no, I was talking about kids, and you're like, no, what I heard was from my mother-in-law.
Well, it's ex-mother-in-law, really. Either way.
Yeah, get the story straight. There's going to be a test later.
You have to. You
Yeah.
have to. Facts are important.
Not about this. It was a Tuesday, I think.
Well, either way.
72 degrees, low humidity. It was great.
Either way. She used to take my kids to church. Like, for a while, she
Yeah.
was the one that took my kids every Sunday to church.
Yeah.
And just let me preface this story saying this.
It was 32 degrees that day, and it was a
There-
Sunday. I know that for a fact.
There is a certain time during parenthood
Yes.
to where it's kind of like the fence. You're on the other side one day, and then that certain thing happens to let you know, oh, well, everything's changed. You can't do that around these kids anymore.
So I'm booting up, right?
My son, he was maybe 4 years old
Right.
at the time. My mother-in-law came home from church, dropping the kids off, and she calls me out on the porch or whatever. She's like, "Come here." I go out on the porch, and she's like, "Do you know what your son said in front of the pastor's wife at church this morning?" I said, "Oh, God, what did he say?" She said he dropped his little thing. He was singing in the little children's choir, and he had his musical thing in his hand, and the pastor's wife was the one that was directing all the children.
Right.
He drops his little
His little hymnal.
his
Yeah.
hymn sheet. He drops it, and immediately when he drops it, he's like, "God damn it!" And he picks it up, and my mother-in-law at the time, she's standing up there, trying to get him to stay there and sing or whatever. She said her jaw just dropped. She just turned around and went and sat in the pew. Like, that was the end of that situation for her at that
Yeah,
point.
like, yep, I'm done.
Yep, we're going to sit down.
She took like a white handkerchief out and threw it. That's me throwing in the towel on this situation.
She might as well have. But either way, from that moment on, I learned you can't say certain things in front of kids.
Yeah.
Because in a natural situation, they see the way you react, and they react the same way.
They're like little sponges.
Yeah.
They pick up so much stuff. Like today, my daughter was like, "Hey, can we go jump in the sprinkler?" I was like, "Well, Daddy's got some stuff he's going to do. He's going to record this podcast with Josh, and Josh is coming over." I was like, "Wait until Mommy gets off, and you can ask Mom if she'll let you go out in the sprinklers." And she goes, "Seriously, Daddy? Seriously? You think she's going to let me go out in the sprinklers?" She's like, "She told me the other day she didn't want me to go out in the sprinklers, so she's not going to let me go today." I'm
She
like,
thinks you're the one that's going to be the
yeah,
gateway.
yeah, and I would be. I mean, I
I
don't
am
know.
too.
Julie
I'm the
just
same
was
way.
tired the other day. She'd probably let her go to the sprinklers.
Look, no,
it was just funny.
mothers are the enforcers. That's the way they are. Us dads, we got to be more relaxed.
Kind of. I mean, I've been
On
a little
certain
bit of both.
issues.
Yeah, but no. I mean, speaking of
Let her
thing-
bring somebody to date home whenever she gets older,
Yeah.
and then your eyebrows will kind of tighten up a bit. I think. I know mine will.
Well, I didn't know you cared for my daughter that much.
No,
She
no.
dating somebody. Let's go whip his ass. Well, he's 13. I mean,
my daughter, my youngest daughter,
Yeah.
is 11 years old. I just found out she got a referral at school. I think it was Thursday.
yeah.
She pulled a little boy down by his hood on his jacket.
Okay.
Pulled him down.
I heard something
Pulled him-
else there for a minute.
She pulled the little boy down like by his hood
Uh-huh.
onto the floor, and just pretty much took him down like
Yeah.
ha ha ha. Well, come to find out, that's her little boyfriend. Yeah, the teacher evidently hadn't been let in on the joke. She wrote on the referral that she was bullying this little boy and all this stuff, and just made it seem like Ava was a monster,
Yeah.
And then when you get to talking to her, she's like, "No, he's my
No,
friend.
like
This,
him."
this, and this."
Yeah.
No, she didn't say
Oh,
that.
yeah.
He's my friend. Blah blah blah. The teachers just don't understand. Caitlin, the sister, Caitlin, the older sister,
Yeah.
released the information to me and my wife. That's her little boyfriend. Her and him are going out, and so she's
Where are
the
they
one that
going?
released the dirt.
Like, where are they going? Where are they going out to? How often do they go there?
Well, they're like skating ring and school boyfriend.
Maybe I should
girlfriend.
go there and clean my shotgun. No. Not the skating rink. Don't do that.
No, you can't do that.
What the hell
Not
you
there.
mean? I'm being arrested. Man, I tell you, my kid starts kindergarten. We're becoming the sad, depressing dad podcast here, but my kid starts kindergarten this year, and I'm like,
Plenty of people got kids, dude.
I don't want it to happen. I do not want it to happen. But I'll tell you what, we'll segue off of that into something else. Do you remember when we were kids, and this is something I hadn't thought about in forever, and I thought about it this week, and I wanted to talk to you about it. Do you remember when we used to watch ECW? We would stay up really late, like 3, 4 a.m. Not that. It was like on, what, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning on Friday?
1 o'clock in the morning when it came on.
When it come down?
When it come down.
When it come down, the DB don't know. All right. So we'd stay up to like 1, 2 in the morning trying to watch this. Well, the commercials were always odd. I mean, you wouldn't get the commercials that you would get, that you would think that you would get. You wouldn't get like
the paid programming
yeah,
commercials.
Like, you telling me that this is a rare mint gold coin? It's like, no. You'd get those. You wouldn't get the ones you would think you would get at 1 a.m. Like,
you're not getting like Chester Cheeto and
Right.
stuff like that.
Call
You're getting,
1-900.
infomercial.
Like what you would think you would get at like 1 a.m. would be call 1-900 babe now. You know, it's like, okay, you know, who's calling this to listen to someone talk? And the Aerosmith that Aerosmith video where he's talking to this hot chick on a 1-900 number, and it ends up being this like old like grandmother that just had a voice. You remember that video from Aerosmith? That kind of just like, I was like, oh, okay, so I'll never call those in my life. And that got me at a young age. I'm like, I've seen those numbers around, and I always wondered what it was like. But no, I will never dial one of those. We did end up dialing one of those on a 1-9, like on a payphone one. Was you with me?
1-800 GM truck.
What?
That was
Is that-
exactly the polar opposite of a GM truck. If you dialed 1-800 GM truck or 1-900 GM truck,
This
then
is
it was a,
Ronnie.
oh yeah, baby.
Was you
How
with
are
me?
doing?" We did it on that payphone by Fred's and AutoZone and stuff like that. It was a guy at my school because I was in 9th grade. That
What
was when I
is-
went to high school.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, he told me this number. We got to call it.
It can't be GM truck. It's got to be something else.
No,
But-
it was GM
Well, I knew
truck.
it's spelled out GM truck as well, but I bet it also was something else.
Oh yeah, like
1-900.
Fuck Joy or something.
What is GM truck? See, GHIMNOT. Or it'd be
It'd be I'm something.
I'm
Horny, maybe?
no. Or I don't know. We'll have to look it up. We're wasting tape here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember it was. I thought it was something else too. Like we would dial it from a payphone, and it would be like deposit 45 quarters, and we're like, nope, gotta hang it up. Just wanted to hear that. We're done. And we're like, who really calls these from a payphone?
I mean, who literally pays like, you know,
In a phone
At
booth.
least-
In a minute, damn it.
20 minutes
Yeah.
worth of conversation? That'd be like at least $45.
Man, I could never understood. I'd never understood that back then. It's like, even though I was a huge dork, I could always talk to girls because I grew up around them.
Yeah.
So I never could understand being that nerdy that you couldn't even talk to a girl. Not you. I'm just saying, like anybody, you
Yeah.
know, that you would have to pay for conversation. But that we got kind of off on a tangent there. What I was gonna say was that was the commercials that you would expect, like, ooh, call us now. We're young. But you didn't get that with ECW. You got this other commercial like 20 million times. And I want to play it for you if I can find it. But I don't want you to look at the screen.
Okay.
So I'm going to type it in. It might take me a second. You're going to have to talk about something while I do that. I mean, talk about your feelings. Talk about your thoughts. Whatever you want to talk about, Josh. This is totally your time. You've got a second here to say what's on your mind right now.
Well, I kind of wish that I could just hit the lotto and just be done with all this work, grind, bullshit. I mean, pretty much the way that I would just want to live life would be like I get a
You're
whole.
looking at the screen.
I'm not really looking at it. I see it, but I'm not seeing it. I kind of just want to get a big, large sum of money and buy me like an island somewhere and just kind of live that way. Kind of reclusive.
All right, so this is the commercial.
Imagine a world where time drifts slowly. A world where music
Remember this at
carries
all?
you
I do.
away. Experience Pure Moods, the perfect soundtrack for your way of life.
If your way of life is getting stoned and talking to the spirit of old Native Americans,
Direct from Europe, this multi-platinum collection has won the hearts of millions.
they have a
Set
1-800
adrift.
number here. I wonder if that's still active.
Let's call it.
You want to call it?
I do want to call it.
Let's do it on our show line then. Hold on.
All right. I was going to call on my personal phone. I was
No,
committed.
don't do that. Let's call it on the show line. Do you want to listen to the rest of the commercial first?
Sure.
All right, so we'll listen to
Send
the
it
rest of the
up.
commercial.
With the timeless pleasures of tubular bells. Or take a trip into the unknown with the
got, like-
X-Files theme.
We've got like pyramids and moons.
No
That's
other
just a porn
collection
song.
gives you
I
the
don't care what they
feeling of
say.
Pure Moods. To order Pure Moods, call the number on your screen or send check or money order for the amount shown, plus shipping and handling.
Most of that just
Rush
sounds like
delivery
porn
available.
music.
Yeah.
Call now.
All right, so we have to call that just to see what, just to see
What
what
could
they're
it be?
doing. Yeah, what could it be now? Could that be
Watch it be
anything?
Pure Moods still
Yeah.
trying to
Welcome
bang
to
the CD
Pure
out.
Moods. I know it's been a while since you've bought a CD.
You know you can own this on MP3 or whatever.
Why haven't you pirated this shit? What's the number? Let me look it up here. 283-2751. 283-2751. 283-2751. All right.
Here we
Get
go.
that go in. All right. Let's see what. Let's
Well,
see what,
look. Can we just make this a deal?
All right.
If it if it's honestly the CD
Uh-huh.
after 22 years,
Yes.
if it is the CD, can we make a pact that we will both throw in and buy the damn thing?
Sure.
If it's legit, the damn number.
If this
and
is
all
Pure
that.
Moods, after
I
let's
will
see, this
go to
was
the bank after we end this show. I will get you $9 or whatever it is.
You think this is $18? It's $15.99. And what year was this?
CD is $18.
Well, this was put on YouTube in 2009, so the
but
YouTube
it's a
video is like
96
10 years old.
commercial.
Yeah, so you're looking at 1995, 1996.
22 years.
22 years ago. Yeah, I don't care. I'll buy.
Okay.
I'll throw in $8 and get,
We
get
got
Pure
it.
Moods.
Let's
All right.
go.
All right, let's hit enter here and see what we got. I bet it's out of service.
Come on, Pure Moods.
I don't hear anything right now. I don't know if we're set up for 1-800 calling. Oh, here we go. It's ringing.
Oh.
Wonder what this is. Why am I nervous?
I don't know. I am too.
I bet it's out of service.
No. It's somebody's paying for the line.
It's just ringing.
If it wasn't a legit number,
You think it's got voicemail?
we're gonna find out.
How many times do we let it ring?
Isn't it like 6?
Come on, I'm pissed off. I need Pure Moods now. Nothing. Yeah, I can't listen to that over and over. Wonder if they have like somebody still owns that number, and they're like every
That
day.
jerk off, he's not answering the phone, trying to get our money.
Yeah. Well, if that wasn't good enough, Josh, did you know that there was a Pure Moods 2 album
I did not.
in 1999?
Journey into a place where time is suspended.
I don't-
Now I remember it.
Journey into Pure Moods.
That's not very
2,
loud,
an all-new
but-
album from the people who brought you the best-selling Pure Moods.
There we go. That might be a little bit louder.
Call this
That's a new number.
1-800 764 5200.
You want to call it?
Let's call it. And if it's Pure Moods 2,
5200.
it's released in 99. That's like 19 years. If it's Pure Moods 2, we'll buy that CD.
You halves on Pyramids too.
I'm
This would be.
halvesies on Pure Moods.
This is
2.
a 19-year-old phone number, so we'll call it. That was. Is that the right number? Do I have it typed in right?
That is it.
All right.
Yes.
So let's call it and see what happens. That's really loud. Sorry. What do we say? That's a weird.
I got you. If somebody answers, I got you.
It's a weird ring.
Probably tapped.
This is like no payoff whatsoever
I
here.
know. Somebody's paying the damn bill on these phone numbers, though.
Just one Native American in the corner. I bought 9 phone lines. Was there a Pure Moods 3? There was a Pure Moods 3. 2001. There's no commercial
It's just
for
good.
it.
No commercial. They're just playing the whole
That's
damn
just-
album
yeah,
for
that's
free.
just the album. I want the Pure Moods 3 commercial. There has to be a pure. Why can't I say that? Pure Moods 3 commercial. Pure Moods
There you go.
3
It's already there.
commercial. Let's see. Is Celtic
There we
Moods
go.
commercial?
That's it.
Okay.
Celtic.
Oh, sorry. Oh no, that's a commercial. We don't want.
A commercial within the commercial.
Yes, it's a commercial for the commercial about a commercial. Here we go. Ooh, this one has some
On a
feedback.
musical journey and enter into a world of pure pleasure.
I remember this one too.
From the multi-platinum series Pure Moods comes an all-new experience. Pure Moods 3. Pure Moods
You remember how your mood was lifted in 1 and 2? Well, we're about to mood it up again for 3. Now this
Call now
one,
and get Celtic Mood.
this one was
1-800-643-6773. Try that one.
all right. 1-800.
If we got that one, this
Was
is a
643?
17-year-old number.
643 what?
6773.
6773. Actually, this is a
17 years old?
no. This would be 19. No.
It's 2018.
Yeah, 17. So you're
17.
right. You're right. See what we get here. I bet there's no payoff here. The long pause between rings gives me hope.
Come on.
This is all gonna be cut. Oh, what's that? Hello? Nope. Okay. Hello? Hello?
We got to call somebody now.
Yeah, now I just want to call like an old 1-800 number. What's the
1-900
oldest 1-800 number that
909
works?
9900.
Oh, I can't do 1-900 on here. Sail away, sail away, sail away. Oldest working telephone number. I don't want that. I want the oldest working 1-800 number.
Oldest working telephone number. It just told you.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want like to call Jim in New York City. I don't know. We're just kind of like killing airtime here, but maybe we should revisit this at a later date. What do you
Sure.
say? I tell you what, we are probably like 48 minutes in, and half of that's been dead air. We didn't talk about porch swings 3 or 4 weeks ago.
We alluded to
Yeah.
porch swings.
We said that we were going to talk about porch swings, and we did not bring that up.
Well, we did, but
We did, but we ran
it
out
was
of time.
supposed to be. No, we didn't run out of any kind of time.
We kind of did. We were already running really long.
When we
and
did that,
when we
bit,
did it, we were
the-
getting
the
tired.
joke was it was just going to be, I have.
Yeah.
And then we cut it off, and that's the joke. Kind of
Yeah.
like,
I mean, but
you know.
we had originally thought about talking about porch swings. It wasn't like we weren't going to do it until we thought about, hey, how funny would it be if we came back and we were just like, have you broken a porch swing? Yep. All right,
have.
thanks. Yeah. So, I don't know, man. Like, there was some stuff there at the time that I was just like, that's pretty funny. Like, did you ever break a swing and then
Yes.
feel really bad about it? Like,
I didn't feel bad. I mean, I was kind of like, well, shit, I'm not going to be able to swing in this thing for like 2 weeks until somebody fixes it. But
not
other
like,
than that,
I ain't climbing a ladder and getting up there and screwing this eye bolt in.
I did not trust myself as a child.
I did that a lot of times, to be honest.
Nope.
I took a hammer and a nail, and I'd drive the hammer in to get a starter hole, and then I would take the eye bolt and roll it in. It's actually really simple to do, but there is nothing in the world that makes you feel like less of a person, because like really more of like a fat ass.
Right.
When you break a chair or a swing falls with you. Like, there's been times like at school where I have sit down in a chair and the weld, it's like a 20-year-old chair by the time you're sitting in it in public school, and the weld is like going because it's been wobbling for weeks.
Yeah,
And
you're
you
just trying to make yourself feel better.
But you set in it and the weld breaks, and you're like, oh,
Everybody's,
Lord.
you hear that soundtrack of laughter.
I mean, the only thing that's worse than that is when you rip your pants. That's when you feel like
No, the
fast,
chair.
dude.
The chair's more embarrassing to me.
I've been in school before where I've done something and I ripped the crotch of my pants, and I'm like, oh, come on.
Well, let me ask you this:
Yeah.
what's your next move when you rip the crotch of your pants? Like, and it's 8:00 in the morning at school. What do you do?
Can I go to the office to call home?
Well, I'm asking you: is that what you
No,
did?
that's what I'm doing. Yeah, that's what I did.
And your mom
but-
brought you a new pair of pants?
Yes.
Even though she was already at work.
Well, I think it was like my aunt brought them to me, or somebody that wasn't at work at the time.
You called your grandma, probably.
Yeah, I called my
Oh,
grandmother.
okay.
Yeah.
You
It
had
was
the delivery. What did you do before then? You just sat in class, or you stayed in the office?
I don't think I ever ripped my pants before then. It was always in middle school.
Look, I got to ask you while we're talking about this.
Yeah.
Whenever you told one of the greatest stories I've ever heard about the vomiting
Yeah.
on the school
On
bus.
the school bus.
What was like the next day like? Whenever you had to get when you had to get on the bus, like the day after.
Dude, honestly, I don't remember. I want to say that it was either a weekend or I didn't go to school the next day. It was just like I was so sick that I just didn't do anything.
Right.
But yeah, I think that was probably the case. It was either a weekend or the next day was like a Friday, so I just skipped school that day. But I'm sure the bus driver didn't like me after that.
Right.
I mean, it was pretty late in the year. Like, it was like my 5th grade year, so this was the last year I was going to be riding that bus. Lucky for me, it happened towards the end of the route. Can you imagine if I get on the bus, like, and this is something I've had a long conversation with my wife, because the way the zone lines are drawn, our area goes to a school that's about 14 miles away. Now, that's not bad. That's only like a 14-minute ride, but we are the furthest of that zone. We are still further out like we were when we were kids.
Yeah.
And when we were kids, we had a 1-hour bus ride too. And sometimes it was like 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Like,
it was longer than an hour.
Yeah, and then you had a 1 hour plus ride home. So you were on the bus like almost 3 hours a day, close to 3 hours a day. And by the time you got to school, you were just like, forget this. And by
Yeah.
the time you got out of school, you're like, well, I've still got another hour and a half before I'm going to be home. And they still have that set up to this day, which is just horrible. I mean, so thank God that when I threw up, it was at like 56 minutes into the ride. So to have pity for me for a little bit there, I sat on a bus for almost an hour feeling sick before I threw up. You know what I mean? Like I just fighting it back. Just don't throw up. Don't throw
Chewing
up.
it
Don't
back.
throw up. Yeah. I mean, there was plenty of times where I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be sick. I'm gonna be sick," and I didn't know what to do because I'd never been sick on the bus before. You know, I think we all are a little car sick every once in a while, and there were times where I would try to do my homework on the bus, and you'd look up and you'd be like, "Whoa, my head's kind of dizzy," but it wasn't so bad on a bus. But man, I tell you, an hour of just feeling sick on a bus, and then, like I said, almost an hour at 57, 58 minutes, you go, blah, and you've got like another 10 minutes to go. At least everybody didn't see it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But no, man, it's just, I told my wife, my daughter's not going through that.
Like, I'm sure our parents went through that too, but
Yeah.
at the same time, they're like, look, it's not practical to do anything but send these little bastards on the bus, you know?
Right.
I mean, I respect what they did. I'm not saying that I,
No, yeah.
you know, I hate my parents for letting me go through that.
But you know what? I do hate my
No,
parents for
man.
letting me go.
It was good. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't that bad. I mean, after so long, you get used to it. But I know as a parent as well, you want to do everything to prevent that situation from
Yeah.
happening. You know.
Well, I tell you what, man, we might have got enough here for a show. I don't know how much of it was entertaining, and a lot of that might be cut out. I really wish we could just pause this and find a 1-800 number to call.
It's like the payoff isn't coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we have
We
all
got to
these
call
setups.
somebody.
Well, the sound of that music means we have reached the end of another episode of P3 Radio. And if you want to find us on Facebook, how can they do that, Richard?
Just type in Pop Poncho on Facebook, and you can go to YouTube and type in P3 Radio, or on Twitter at P3 Radio 1.
Or you can go to our number, 731-300-6675.
Yes,
731-300-MORK.
yeah. Physically go to our number. Don't dial that in. Don't text it. Don't do anything. Physically go there.
Go to it.
Yes. And we will see you next week here on P3 Radio. For Josh Brawley, I'm Richard Mulligan saying
Go
good
to our
night.
number.